everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please like and subscribe to this video. This video today is about what I did to pass the NCLEX exam and what you can do as well to pass the NCLEX RN exam. Alright, so I'm just gonna go over 3 main steps that you need to take in order to prepare for your NCLEX RN exam. So the first thing to do is to make a study schedule. In your study schedule, you want to include everything that you're going to do every day. So from 9 to 10, I would work out, and from 10 to 8, I will do increments of studying. The calendar, I included the resource I was going to use and the amount of questions I was going to do. And I did a written schedule which included my time from when I woke up to when I went to bed. You want to make sure that from 9 a.m. to 10, yeah, I'm at that gym. After 10, I'm doing my first trainer, and then from 12 to 1, I'm on my lunch break, and from 1 to 4, I'm reviewing the trainer that I just took earlier that morning. So that's how I had my schedule, and the calendar was just there to show me, okay, Stefania, this is what you did the day before, and this is what you're going to do in terms of studying and using the resources that you have. In your calendar, also choose one day out of the week where you want that to be your break. Now, the second step is to use at least 2 resources. So I said at least 2 resources, but I wouldn't go over a maximum of 3 resources because having too many resources can be overwhelming. So you want to know that you're consistent with 2 or 3 resources that you're going to use throughout your NCLEX preparation. The 3 resources that I used were UWorld, Kaplan, and NCSBN. So those are all sites, and the reason why I don't have any books in my resources is because, guys, I tried it. I tried the Saunders book that a friend gave me, and I also tried the Kaplan book. If I would recommend a book to use, I would recommend the Saunders book, and I will put a picture up here to show you what edition that a friend of mine gave me, but I really didn't use it because I don't know, I'm just not a reader. Textbooks is just not my thing. And the fact that I was able to use a lot of online resources, I really leaned towards that. I know in my previous video, I mentioned Mark Klemick, and Mark Klemick I didn't include in as a resource because I did him towards the end of my studying. I listened to his audios 2 weeks before I took my exam. So let me break it down how I use those resources. I took my exam May 28th. In April of 2020, I only did Kaplan. So I made my calendar in a manner that I will complete Kaplan in a month because I wanted to use UWorld the month after. So the month of April, I only did Kaplan. I did Kaplan trainers, I did Kaplan Q-Banks. I even tried to incorporate the Kaplan content review book, but that wasn't a success for me. May 1st was different. May 1st, I was done with Kaplan. The only thing I used from Kaplan was the CAT exams, and the CAT exams are like exams to see your readiness for the NCLEX. So I decided to only use the CAT exam in Kaplan because I wasn't going to purchase the 90-day UWorld that includes the self-assessments. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna pay extra for that. I'm just gonna use the CAT exams, which are like self-assessments on UWorld, and I'll just purchase the 30-day UWorld. May 1st, I purchased it. And from there on, I made a new calendar. A new calendar showing, okay, this is what I'm going to cover on UWorld. So UWorld is basically broken down by systems. It has maternity, musculoskeletal, integumentary, pediatrics. It's just very broad. I started with my weakest points, doing questions on my weakest points, and then I did things that I knew I was confident in and just needed to brush on. I did about 75 questions a day. That was the least amount of questions that I did every day. Whether I was using Kaplan or UWorld, that was the amount of questions I was doing every day at least. And depending on how I'm feeling that day, I may do 100 questions, but usually I range from 75 to 100 questions per day. Now, I also mentioned that I use NCSBN. Now, NCSBN is a nursing company, and they're the ones that basically create the Kaplan exam. NCSBN, guys, is great, okay? If I didn't use Kaplan, like if you don't want to use Kaplan, I would say use NCSBN and UWorld. NCSBN covers everything. So they go by system. They usually do a pre-test, content, and then they test you on what you just went over. So I absolutely loved it because they broke down the content into things that you really needed to know. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't overwhelming. I would say it was about 15 pages of content before you took the test. And if you don't want to go over the content, you can just go straight into the test. If you're just trying to do more questions, they have different courses you can choose from. So the course that I chose was a 3-week course because I had purchased it in May and I was already using UWorld. So I used the 3-week course on NCSBN. So I correlated my UWorld content and the NCSBN. So let's say one day I was doing cardiovascular questions on UWorld. Then I would also, if I was doing that on UWorld, then I would do that also on NCSBN because they also break down their information like UWorld in a bit. So that's how I use NCSBN and UWorld, those two sites together. The last step that I would say is important to do when preparing for your NCLEX is to do a lot of questions and review. It's not just doing a lot of questions, but it's also reviewing the test or exam that you just took. Because if you don't understand why you got something wrong or why the other responses were wrong and why a certain response was correct, if you're not understanding the content, then it's not really helping you study. You want to learn as you study. You want to be able to maintain the information as you study. So I would definitely recommend to do at least 75 to 100 questions. If you are just starting off, you can start off slow, like by 50 questions per day for about 2 weeks. And then after that, you gradually increase to 75 questions and then to 100. And when you're doing your self-assessments, spread them out. So spreading them out, I took my first CAT exam because I didn't purchase the UWorld self-assessments. I took my first CAT exam before I started studying for the NCLEX. And just to see where I am and what I need, to improve on. And then afterwards, I would say a month into studying, I did the second CAT exam. And 2 days before I took my NCLEX RN exam, I took my last CAT exam. And CAT exam is also like a self-assessment. So if you have UWorld, if you're only purchasing UWorld, then and you have 2 self-assessments, then when I would do them, I would do the first self-assessment 1 month after studying, and the last self-assessment 2 to 3 days before I take my exam. I would really recommend, on top of your resources, to take out at least 2 weeks to just listen to Mark Clemic audios. So just to go over the 3 steps that I covered in this video to study for your NCLEX exam, The first step is to make a study schedule. The second step is to use at least 2 to 3 resources. And the third step is to do a lot of practice questions and reviewing those questions. Just before I end this video, I just also wanted to include that while studying for the NCLEX, you really want to minimize your distractions. So guys, if it's shutting off your phone or removing the social media apps just for the 1 to 2 months that you're planning on studying, then if that's what's going to help you, then do it. You know, do something that's going to help you minimize your distractions and help you focus on studying for the NCLEX. Also, surround yourself with positive people. Be around people that you know will support you through this process, will motivate you, whether it may be family or a best friend or close friends. Surround yourself with positive vibes only and focus. You know your test date, or even if you don't know your test date, you have an idea of when you want to test, and just keep grinding, and know that you're going to that exam for a one and done. And even if you don't pass it on your first try, like, it is a-okay. You have a lot of more chances, and at least you know what to look forward to on your second time. But that's the mindset I went with. I studied, I hit those questions hard, I reviewed hard, I maintained a study schedule, and I did not drift away from that study schedule. Like, if it was an emergency, then I'm not drifting away from my schedule. And so I really encourage you guys to focus and to stay consistent with your study schedule, and keep in mind that you are going into the exam for a one and done. And if you put in the work for it and you have a positive mindset towards it, then you can do it. And so, yeah, I hope that I helped you guys in this video about ways to study for the NCLEX RN exam. And I just wish you all the best. Thank you so much. And don't forget, once again, to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.